Welcome, students. In the previous chapter, we have seen what is democracy, what is government, what is the meaning of having a democratic society. In this video, we will discuss chapter 2, that is pillars of democracy. So, democracy is considered the best form of government, and the features of democracy which make it superior, these features of democracy which make it superior over other forms of government, these elements are essential conditions for the successful working of a democratic government. So what are the different features? First, it is the enlightened citizens. Being enlightened, we have heard being knowledgeable, being intelligent, being superior. But what does this mean to be enlightened? Enlightened was the term which is associated with Lord Buddha when he got enlightenment, when he sat under the Bodhi tree. That doesn't mean every citizen is getting enlightened. So what does it mean to be enlightened? It means a person, whether he is educated or not, whether he is literate or illiterate, but he should be able to make right choices, or he is able to arrive at right decisions at right times when it is required, depending upon the situation and condition or the state in which that particular individual is. Then he is said to be enlightened. Apart from all these two features, when the citizen is socially responsible, that is, he starts thinking about the society also, then he is said to be enlightened. And when the particular person or individual is able to take responsible decisions at a time according to the situation, and by responsible decision we mean that he is able to take decisions which can benefit masses, or which is for the benefit of the entire class, and the benefits they are not limited up to a few people, then we say such citizens are enlightened citizens. So an enlightened citizen, using all these four characteristics, he can make a sound decision. And in democracy, political parties, they play a vital role. So political awareness can be brought using all these four characteristics. So political awareness is an important condition of democracy, and politically enlightened citizens will be able to judge the performance of the government and can make the correct choice of their representatives at times when it comes to elect their representatives by general elections. The second pillar for democracy is the wise leadership. Leader means a person who is capable to deal. When you see leader, this is lead, and when you change it, it becomes deal. A leader who can deal with large masses, who can understand the feelings of the masses, who can understand their requirements, their needs, and can make them feel good or feel comfortable when they come to get their problems shared and solved by the leader. So leader, a person, and leadership, it's a quality. So wise leadership is a quality, and this wise leadership, especially in large countries where people they cannot direct administer themselves, the political leaders are elected. The political leaders are elected by means of general elections, and that's why elections are an important part of democracy. So different political parties, they have different leaders with their own ideology, and they contest elections by fielding their candidates in the general election. The party leaders, they try to enlighten the voters by telling them about their future plans and policies, about when they will enjoy power or they will come into power because of the people, if the people they cast votes in their favor. So what sort of policies they are going to frame. This meetings are for this election campaign is done and public meetings are held. So these public meetings try and they help in formulating a public opinion, and that's how we get to know about the person who is contesting the elections, and then we make our choices by casting our vote. So an efficient leadership should be committed. Efficient leadership, that is a person who is capable enough to take all the elected representatives in a common way and lead to governing the country in a committed way. And the commitment means that they should be committed for the welfare of the country, not for welfare of a particular group or class. So if wise leaders they start running the government, the country will automatically progress, and it will progress in a truly democratic manner. Next is the sound public opinion. Sound means volume. We sometimes say sound means sound, increase the sound, that is increase the volume. Now sound public opinion. Sound means a established, a well decided public opinion. So what is public opinion? First of all, we will discuss what is public opinion. Public opinion refers to the wishes of public or common man. Public means the common man. So it refers to the wishes of the public or common man on any issue or problem. This public opinion is described as the opinion of majority of people generally, and it doesn't mean that minorities they are not given a chance. Even minorities also can express an opinion which may be in the interest of the entire community. So the public opinion is a decision making mechanism, and it plays a vital role in a democracy. The right to formulate sound opinion is granted by the democratic system, and when the citizens they are enlightened, like we discussed, when the citizens if they are enlightened enough and they are led by wise leaders, and they can create as a result a sound public opinion, and it will lead the country to the path of development, but in a democratic manner. Now I just talked about the majority of people and minority of people. Majority, that is a large group of people, and minority, a small group of people. So accommodation of differences, two differences are there, majority and minority. Also at times we have seen the government when it is formed, if a single party is getting the majority, it can form the government itself. But sometimes when the mandate or the result is result of election is that the seats they are distributed among different parties, then two parties or three parties they join together, and then they form the government, that is coalition government. COALITION, that is coalition government. This coalition government is a amalgamation of parties that gets the mandate of the people in terms of majority of seats or votes. Then what happens to the minority? In a democracy, every group, however small it may be, it must be allowed to voice its opinion or to raise its opinion. Then we have tolerance and inclusiveness. Tolerance, that is, we should respect. Tolerance doesn't mean that we should just accommodate. No, tolerance means we should give equal respect to all the voices, all the opinions which are coming. And inclusiveness means everyone, whether he is from the privileged class or he is belonging to a depressed class. Everyone should be included. Those who are having special needs, even they are taken care of or they are considered in the democratic process. The freedom of majority is enjoyed. So it is essential in a democracy to respect the freedom of majority. Why respect freedom of majority? To run the government, and it should be there that we should respect the freedom of minority. Why freedom of minority? To express the opinion, so that they can express their opinions. And in short, we can say that rights and views of all should be respected. Now, what is tolerance? I discussed. So, tolerance is a virtue which makes for a successful democracy. It is needed among the political parties, individuals, communities, the religious bodies. We should tolerate each other. That is, we should give equal respect to each other. Now, the next pillar of democracy is the disciplined citizen. Very important pillar. Now, who is a disciplined citizen and what does it mean to be disciplined? Discipline is a set of rules which are expected to be followed by those who are on whom the discipline is to be imposed. And disciplined citizens in this regard means the citizens who are aware regarding their rights and duties. That is, citizen is a common man. No, we are humans, but we are a common man, and we are identified as a citizen because of the laws, because of the constitution of the country. So, being a disciplined citizen means that we should be aware regarding the rights and duties which are mentioned in the constitution of our country. A disciplined citizen is also expected to avoid the use of force for getting the demands fulfilled. A disciplined citizen, thirdly, it should be and it should feel freedom, and this freedom being the essence of democracy. So disagreements are unavoidable. That is, people should respect the views of others even if those views are in sharp contrast with their own, or there you can say there are differences between the views of people. Then also these differences can be set aside and the respect to be given to the views of others. Our next pillar is a disciplined political party. So what is a political party? A political party refers to a group of individuals or a group of people who believe and who follow a common ideology and who try to get into power, who try to take the power, who try to share the power with the help of their policies, with the help of their ideology, and by persuading the people. So how it is done? Generally, the representatives, they are elected in the general elections, but who is fielding these representatives to contest the elections? It is more often it is the political parties that select their candidates and that field their candidates in the general elections. So it is the political parties that help in creating public opinion by means of public meetings and by means of their election campaigns. And these political parties, apart from telling and sharing their ideology, they also persuade people to go and cast their vote, whether in their favor or the people they can go and cast against them. But in a way, they are persuading people to vote, to go and cast their vote. Also, these parties, they formulate their policies and they seek to implement these policies when they come to power. So if the political parties, they are not well oriented and disciplined, no elections will be smooth, and smooth elections cannot be entertained or cannot be organized. So the political parties need to be disciplined, and if the political party is not disciplined, then when it comes to power, we will be lacking an efficient government, and the policies will be of unsound opinion and unsound nature, that will lead the country not on a path of development, but it will degrade the country, like we have seen in our neighboring countries. When an elected famous government has come into power, the policies and the formulations, you can see how it is ruining the country instead of getting it developed. Now we will see the social and economic equality. It is another pillar of democracy that helps to the democratic government to get its real meaning. So what is social and economic equality? See, we have seen there is discrimination prevailing within the society, discrimination between women and men in terms of working hour, in terms of labor hours, in terms of work also. So this social and economic equality is the essence, and democracy is based on this principle of equality and human dignity. So the social inequality or social discrimination sometimes is against human dignity. How? When we talk about social and economic equality, the society should be free from discrimination. That is, it should be a discrimination free society. Discrimination on the basis of caste, on the basis of gender, on the basis of region, on the basis of language, like we discussed in the beginning of the video. So human dignity is the core value of democracy. A society is called democratic only if all its members are respected as humans and human beings, you can say, and with dignity. And one should enjoy economic equality. That is, everyone should have economic equality. There should be no economic disparity or economic difference in the society. None of us should starve, and none should be denied the basic necessities of life. If there is abundance, means there is in excess on one hand, and poverty on the other, then there can be no true democracy. So in this regard, social and economic equality is an essential condition for the successful working of democracy. That's all we have in this video, and the next video we will discuss a new chapter. Thank you. Have a nice day.